How you doing? How you doing, YouTube? This is your host, King Geo. First and foremost, I want to start this show with a, a condolences to all the women who have been abused and all those women who have been, when their lives have been taken away because of their significant other. Um, I'm doing this. The title for this is the Gabby Petito, the truth behind Daddy Petito, and the title for that is because there are a lot of things that we neglected. Well, not we, officers, and society itself neglected that day of the day that she got stopped. The day in most states, domestic violence is not tolerated. There's a zero tolerance of domestic violence. The state of Florida, I'm in the state of North Carolina, so I don't know how it is here. But I can tell you that in the state of the state of Florida, that if they would have seen Gabby Petito with a scratch, even a scratch, um, her boyfriend would have gone to jail because that's how strict the state of Florida is on domestic violence. And it's sad that it's sad that officers had not taken the time. Yeah, right. Officers have not taken the time to diagnose this. This reminds me back of the 80s when you drove drunk in New York and the officers just said, um, give me your car keys, come pick them up in the station, or walk home and go get your car tomorrow. Or if you want to, or if a woman got abused, and I remember this because I used to see my mom used to get hit by my father, the officer would just say, get out the house, come back tomorrow. Something could happen to my mom and they wouldn't have cared. But what I'm saying is that when you see the video, you see how scary Gabby Petito is. You know that she's in an abusive relationship. And I remind you, I'm not a psychiatrist. This is just my opinion. But you don't have to be in a physical relationship, or the abuse doesn't have to be physical for it to be domestic violence. Right? Words itself is considered abuse, verbal abuse. So when you see this young girl that she's terrified that he locked her out the car, that he did this, and then prior to that, there was a report that says that they saw her going into the driver's side window one time because he had locked her out. That young lady, either she was enamored with the guy or she was just maybe infatuated. She was infatuated with the guy, and she didn't realize that she was in an abusive relationship. Um, I'm gonna go further. I had a friend of mine. He was married with this young man, and he was an alcoholic, and he slapped her one time, and they have a kid together, and that's all it took. And she divorced him. And when I spoke to her, I said, "You divorced him for one slap?" She goes, "Yeah, Gio, because I divorced him because I'm like I'm not gonna let no man touch me. If I let him touch me once and I forgive him for that, he's gonna do it again." And it's true. It's true. An abusive relationship. If a man's abusive with a woman to the first time, and that man does not seek help, he will never know how it is to treat a woman. He will never. He would be a narcissist, and it would be always him, 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 him. And there are women out there who are just in a relationship and don't know how to get out because they think that they have nobody. They think that there's nothing out there for them, and that's not the truth, and the reason I say Gabby Petito is because we have given this so much media attention to this young girl, where there are hundreds of girls who get. I just read today that in that area alone, between the year 2011 and 2020, which was last year, 710 girls were found missing are missing from that area. So where are the reports? Where's the news media of those 710 girls that were reported missing. Where are their stories? Where were their where was their stories? And we go on. If we don't see it in the media, we don't know about it. And sometimes when and this is the honest this is the honest to God truth. When these stories are reported, it's usually because I don't know, man, guys. It's because it was a white girl who lost her life, a white 22-year-old girl. But there are girls who are blacks, there are girls who are Hispanics, there are girls who are Asians who disappear, who get murdered every day, and their stories are not told. And their stories are not told. I'll give you an example. In Puerto Rico, domestic violence is high. All right. Puerto Rico, 4 years ago, I think it was 4 years ago, right before I left Puerto Rico in 2016, there was a woman in a town called Salinas. All right. She had an order of protection out on her ex-husband. Her ex-husband goes to her house. He's banging on the door. She is calling 911. As she's calling 911 and she's on the phone with 911, 911 tells her that they cannot send any officers over because all the officers of that town were away giving away traffic tickets. So you hear this man, this lady's on the phone with a 911 operator screaming and talking to the woman. I need someone for 45 minutes. On the 46th minute, this man entered the house and stabbed this woman over 70 times. So you need to tell me that in Puerto Rico, you have municipal police and you have state police. Let me think, you had no one from the municipal to go there, and you had no one from the state police that was able to go there to save that young lady. And this is not the only case in Puerto Rico. Every year in Puerto Rico, there are a lot of women who get murdered by their husbands, their boyfriends, their ex, and we pay no attention to that. And we don't give. And here in the United States, we give no media to that because I don't know. It doesn't. If it doesn't happen to me, it doesn't exist. You know, where are all those missing girls? Where are all those girls who are, well, girls, I'm sorry, where are all those women who are being abused? Where are their stories? You know, if we did this with every domestic violence, all right, and you post it out there, you let that woman know that there is somewhere where you can go, that there is somewhere that you can seek help, because there's a problem with today's women that when they get in a relationship, they seem that there's no way out. They're so infatuated with this one man that they think that this man is the world, right? They think that he's the father of my baby. I have to stay with him. No, you don't. There's no room for abuse, whether it's verbal abuse, especially no way in physical abuse, but verbal abuse is just as bad because that scars you. When your husband or your boyfriend tells you, "Where's my food?" or go get my food, or this is done this way, or this is done that way, that's not love. Or when he hits you and you say and you actually say to yourself, he did it because he was drunk, or he did it because he was under stress because his job is stressing him out. No, that's not the way to go. And we don't and you don't see videos of this. You don't see content creators doing these kind of things because it's just, to them, it doesn't bring out people. They won't get no subscribers, but I'm doing this because as I was reading people, and you see how many tweets and you see how many YouTube views that people get because of this just one girl. What's so special about this young one girl that wasn't special with those 710 girls from 2011 to 2020? What's not so special about all those women who are not girls? I'm sorry, all those women who are abused by their significant other every day in the United States? Where are their stories? Why aren't their stories told? You know, men men need to stop raising their kids, their sons, as if they're alphas. Or if you want to use this alpha word, as if they're alpha, that a woman's job is only in the kitchen, that a woman's job is just to bear children, that a woman's job is to stay home and take care of the house, that the man's job is this, and that he's here and she's here, that she's beneath him. No, it doesn't work that way. Men need to take that away from their sons. I see a lot of men do that. Bring that son up as a macho, as that, oh, I'm the man, I do this, things are done my way. That's not the way a father raises a son. You can raise your son to defend himself, to defend the ones he loves, but also teach the son that the woman has just as much rights as the man. They're equal. That it takes two to work things out. That everything works out in a sense with it's a woman and a man, not this male dominance that has to be me, and the male dominance is the one. No, that's not the way it goes. That's not the way it goes. But society dictates that. So you see people on the news and say, they say, oh, if she would have done this, if she would have done that, blah, blah, blah. We don't know what the girl would have done, but this is in every relationship. A woman is confused or decides not to see the things that are right in front of them. They choose not to see it. You see them, I see them, but they don't see it because they're in love with a girl. I don't know what it is. I try to enter these girls. I don't think it's innocent. I think it's just pure ignorance. Tony, you have to instill values in your daughters, in your sons. And once they become of age, if they want to, I'll give you an example. This is the bad thing to say, but I'm assuming that the fathers and mother of Jeffrey Dahmer were great people. I'm assuming they taught him the right thing to do. But look how he turned out to be. The same thing with the son of Sam, the same thing with the Zodiac Killer. If you look at their parents, you look at the parents, and it's who's Tony B. You said Brian is innocent. How is that? I haven't read anything they said is innocent. You look at their parents, and they're normal, but something happened along the line that son is not normal. So you can instill the best values that you think to your kids, but at the end of the day, they're gonna end up doing things anyway. How many times fathers and mothers don't go to their daughters and say, leave him. He is no good for you. Look at your black eye. How many times has fathers have not jumped in and brothers have not jumped in to defend their daughters, to defend their sisters, until what? Until something what? To defend their sisters or to defend their daughters for what? What happens next? She goes back out. She goes back with the man. She goes back to her husband. She goes back to her boyfriend. She goes back to her ex. Because we see the abuse, but for some reason, they refuse to see it. And Tony B says, innocent until proven guilty. So Tony says that Brian is innocent until proven guilty. Well, Tony, let me tell you something. That innocent until proven guilty here in the United States, it does not exist. I am sorry to tell you that. We want to believe it does. We want to believe that our almighty justice system is the best in the world, but it's not. You're not innocent until proven guilty. It's the other way around. You're guilty until proven innocent. You know how many people are in jail? You know how many innocent people are in jail here in the United States of America? A lot. If you haven't been in jail, then you don't know. But there's a lot of innocent people here in jail. Okay, so we want to believe that justice is blind, right? But it's not. We want to believe the cliche, the innocent until proven guilty, but it's not. The reality is that we live in a society that that's not it. We could say, you can have that mentality and say, well, he's innocent until proven guilty, but 10,000 other people say he's guilty. I haven't looked at the Julius Joe situation, but because I'm a speed reader, I can do this, like Brutus. I mean, society itself, you get arrested, Tony, right? You get arrested. And you didn't do anything, but it says Tony B got arrested for burglary. But they didn't catch you in the house. You weren't near the house. You were nowhere near. But yet, being that they already put your name out there, Tony B, now 10,000 people are going to say, oh, he's guilty, man. He ran, without even knowing the story, you already guilty. You walk down the street, oh, there goes Tony. He was that thief that they caught. That's what it is. You're not society. I mean, that's the way the justice was supposed to work, innocent to proven guilty. But it's never been like that, especially if you're a black, if you're a person of color or you're a minority, that innocent to proven guilty, that does not work. I know, right? It is funny how Horton says funny how news organization dropped the story of the other two females murdered in that area. Once it was said it to be unrelated, that case not getting in some attention may never be solved, which is true. That's a prime example. Here it is. We have this young white blue-eyed girl, 22. And I'm not saying anything wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's sad that she passed away. It's sad that she was murdered. But here we have a young 22-year-old girl, blonde, whatever she is, and then you have two women who are murdered. They only showed them because they were found dead, and they wanted to correlate hey, what's up, Stephen? They wanted to correlate if one would lead to the other. But then after you said that then one thing was not that it didn't connect, they dropped it. So where is that case? Where is the news of that young lady? Nowhere. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna upload tonight or tomorrow a story, and this is my story of my daughter's mother, who was 18 years old, who murdered 26 years ago in Broward County in Florida, and to this day they have not found her murderer. They not have found, and I'm gonna put because it was done on a podcast, and you're gonna hear how her death became, how she was killed, and the last interview that they had with her aunt. But you're gonna see 26 years of nothing, and then mind you, she was a white, blue-eyed, blonde girl, but she came from a different side of society. She was doing something different. She was working somewhere different. So they didn't give her the attention that they were supposed to be. Now, has she been rich and lived somewhere in Florida? If she lived in Florida, it was a good place. But if she lived somewhere in Florida, let's say Boca Raton or something like that, trust me, she would have gotten the attention that she deserved. But to this day, the officers that are working in the case, I appreciate their work, their job. But previously, come on, 26 years, and you cannot find one guy or one girl or the persons who did this? Okay, Stephen. Okay. Stephen says, one of the last text messages Gabby sent said something about telling her mom to help Stan because she keeps getting wrong texts and calls from him. Did you hear that? No, I did not. I haven't been paying too much attention to that because it saddens me because This young, and I believe that his parents are hiding something, because this young man arrived to Florida September the 1st. And September the 1st until they didn't report her body. I mean, they didn't report her missing until September 11th. So what happened between September the 1st and September 10th? Why did no one report that? Why did no one say anything? Why did anyone say, "Wow, you came home"? But she should have been reported that he came in the 2nd of September. Listen, my son came home. He left, but he came home alone. I want to know what's going on. And you start the investigation. And then he leaves the house. They find the car that he drove to the spot. They bring the car back. That was on a Wednesday. They bring the car back on a Wednesday. And then he report him missing until Friday. Why didn't you report him missing the following? Because you were giving him time, or he might come home. And why didn't the North Point police start questioning him the day they reported him? That's the truth. Now, going back to these two girls. Now, here's these two women who were murdered in the same spot, and I'm not getting their attention. So their case may never be solved, because there were two girls, and I'm assuming they were in a relationship. So they, in their mind, who cares? That they were probably in a relationship. Who cares? Blah 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 blah. But here comes Gabby, and she grabs all the attention when it shouldn't be that way. Oh yes, they have trust me, they have abetted him. They have abetted him. They've been abetting him for a while now. You think they don't know where he's at? You don't think they didn't give him, yo, listen, we're gonna give you go on a head start and just go wherever you have to go, and don't tell us where you're gonna be, don't call us where you're gonna be, and just get a head start. Giselle, how you doing, Giselle? Some people speculate that she was pregnant. Who knows? Who knows if she? I mean, probably she was pregnant. But even if she was pregnant, that even makes it more sickening. Because think about this: how can you how can you hurt the woman that you say that you love? How can you hurt the girl that you said that whatever you want to be, the woman that you say that you love? How can you hurt her if things weren't working out? This is what I don't understand, men. If things were not working out, just leave. Give her the car and leave. Plain and simple. There's nothing. There's no woman in this world that's worth jail. I don't care how beautiful she is. I don't care the bodacious body that she has. But there's no way in the world that I'm going to go out there, spend the rest of my life in jail just because I want to kill this. No. To me, it doesn't make any sense at all. Just leave her, let her be, and go around your own merry little way. You know how many women are out there? There's more women than men, people. But men get this fixation that she's not mine, she's not nobody. She cannot be with nobody. And then the man leaves her, or she leaves him, because whatever X reason. And then he sees her with another guy, or he sees her happy, and he decides to jump in and butt heads and blah, blah, blah. Come on. Men gotta think more, or they gotta think more thoroughly of what you're going to do, because it's not worth it. Now here you have Gabby's parents are never going to see her again. Okay, I don't know. I cannot give you a definitive. I cannot tell you how I feel about his family, because deep down inside, I feel that his family is protecting him. That his family waited way too long. In those 10 days, they talked to the lawyers. They did a plan. This is planned out. This disappearance is planned out. That's just my thought. No one's talking about it, but Stan actually stands for the some people who stop telling authorities now. They think that Gabby didn't spend last text. It was Brian, but I think it was her. But Stephen, regardless who sent the text message, regardless of who did what we're talking about here is that there are a lot of women out there who are getting abused as I speak right now. There's a woman getting hit. There's a woman being murdered. As harsh as that sounds, There's a woman that's being murdered. There's a woman that's being raped. There's a woman that's being, something's happening to one woman in this world right now, and we can't do anything about it. There's a woman that was beaten yesterday who probably went to the cops and the cops didn't do anything. There's a woman who probably was beaten today and doesn't leave that relationship because she loves him. Or she thinks there's something going on. But my point to it is that we're giving her a lot of attention. Now don't get me wrong. If this attention that they're giving Gabby was to form something, and women would see this and say, you know what? Once I'm in an abusive relationship, I'm going to get out. So if my husband or my boyfriend talks down on me or degrades me, I'm out. If he puts a hand on me, I'm out. That's the point. That's the whole point of this video, is that women need to know when to get out. Don't ever say to yourself, without him, I'm nobody. Oh, hell no. Put it the other way around. Without you, he ain't nobody. Because let me tell you something, to be honest with the truth. Every successful man has a great woman next to him. So even if that woman is 20 years younger than he is, right? And she tells him, and she's there just for the money, and she tells him, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And even if he goes out there and he does it just for her, but he succeeded, but he did it just for her, still. And she just milking him, still. He succeeded because of her. If it wasn't for her, go do this and go do that, and her motives were different than his, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if she was, it saddens the situation if she was pregnant. Now he took away, whatever if you want to call it, life, whatever, I'm pro-choice. So you can, you can see that it saddens that situation even more. But just think about the point is that here you are with a man that you love, and he kills you. Most cases, if you ever go to law school, the first thing they teach you is that most murders are a crime of passion. You are killed. A woman is killed because. Not because they killed by someone that they know or they love. And that's either 8 out of 10 or 7 out of 10. I'm talking about, this is probably 20 years ago when I was going to law school. I don't know how statistics has changed now, but it's the truth. So to put her up here and not put all these women who have been abused, it's bad. We're sending, as media, the media is sending a bad message. Instead of sending the message that abuse is not going to be tolerated by anyone. Or another interesting coincidence is the picture of Brian reading a book in a hammock. The book was about a guy who killed his wife and a couple other females. So he probably was a psycho in the making. You could tell that there's something wrong with him, because if he can go and kill this woman in Utah, bro, from Utah to Florida, that's a long ass drive, and go all the way from Utah and drive all the way to Florida with no worries in the world, then there's something wrong with you. Now, is that enough? Good. If that's enough case to plead, is his lawyer, if when all is said and done, is the lawyer gonna plead insanity? And even in an insanity case, wouldn't hold, because he drove from one place to another, so he knew his way back. So he knew that he did something wrong. So an insanity case is kind of hard to prove, but some people have suckered the psychiatrist, so to speak, and they're and the people, okay, we're not going to prosecute because of reason of insanity or whatever the case may be. It's up to the judge whether she accepts the plea. But anyway, so that's the whole thing. So you could tell this guy was there was something wrong with him. But what gets me angry the most is that they waited 10 days. No one's talking about this. No one's talking about what happened from September 1st to September 11th when they finally decided when his mother, or I think it was Gabby's mother. I'm not talking about Gabby's mother, but Gabby's mother was the one that reported her missing. But the Gabby's mother, my question is also, did Gabby's parents know that he was in Florida September the 1st? Did they know? Or were they told on September the 10th? Or were they told September the 9th? Listen, our son came home, but he came without Gabby. When were they told this? This is something, there is a big gap in timeline. If I was a detective, I would take the mother and father and say, where were you? Why? Why didn't you report this to the police? Why didn't you call the parents? Well, that's speculation. But I want to go from what I'm seeing. Why on September the 1st, when your son arrived alone, did you not report it? He lawyered up. Find out when they hired the lawyer. Unless he was a family lawyer already. But you can still tell. Look at the phone calls, you look at phone records, you see when they called the lawyer. So you can tell by phone records, by all that, you can tell. So what happened in those 10 days? What happened in those 10 days? Were they planning this? Was this planned? Was the lawyer waiting? You know what? Let's find out what happens because this happened in federal land, so it's going to be a federal case. So the feds are going to take over. So that takes another lawyer, because if the feds decide to, let's say, if and when he gets caught, they indict him, and they want to take him to trial, and they want to charge him with capital murder, or they want to charge him with the death penalty. Now you need a different lawyer who specializes in death penalty cases, because this is a whole different ballgame. This is a whole different. It's a federal offense. You did this in federal property, so it's going to be different. But my question is, what happened in those 10 days? So I'm believing that in those 10 days, they were planning stuff. In those 10 days, they spoke to the lawyer. In those 10 days, they was like, you know what? It's time for you to go. And when he left with the car, they said that when they went to the national park where he was at, when they found the Mustang, that they took the Mustang, they drove it around to look for him, and they took it back. So check this out. So if that was the case, and you know that your son is being investigated and you want to help him out the most, why didn't you just call the police and say, listen, my son left yesterday. We found his car today. He left on Tuesday. We found his car today here. So you let the officers come, let them investigate that scene. We'll see where he went, blah, blah, blah. But they didn't do that. They took the car back to the house and waited until Friday. So he left Tuesday. Wednesday, they went to get the car to go see. They found the car, brought it back home. Thursday passed, and Friday came, and they reported him. Now, these are one of those, those guests. These are one of those games of like, guess who did it? You cannot tell me in any way, shape, or form that his parents are not abetting him. They're doing something. They've been manipulating this from the get-go. And the sad part is that behind all this is Gabby's parents, who don't know anything about it, who were left behind, who were left in the loop, so to speak, and not told that this gentleman returned back to Florida on September the 1st. If the Utah police, once they saw markings on that man, and let's say he said, oh, she hit me, or she hit you, you have a mark in your hand, but we're arresting her. Let's just say that happened, she'd be alive right now. Because she never said, he never said that he hit her. Well, she never said that he hit her. So, but you know there was domestic violence. You know there was something there. You know, and why Gabby didn't why Gabby, if they were separated when the police officer said go to the hotel and told Brian to go to the hotel, why didn't Gabby call her parents and say, Mom, this is what's going on. This is why communication with your kids is so important, people. Instead of giving your kids a cell phone or a tablet, go and your pain and your suffering, take it out on that. Go play a game. Go do this. Talk to your kids. Because if you talk to your kids and you have that relationship with your kid, instead of badgering your kid, instead of downing your kid, oh, you're not going to become this, you're going to do this, or this is not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. You talk with your kid, you sit down with your kid, and you have that intimate relationship with your kid. And then that kid's going to grow up and could be able to say, Dad, I want to tell you something. Mom, I want to tell you something. Mom, this is going on in my life. This is going on in my life. My relationship with such and such is not going great. He beats me, or he talks down on me, or Mom, I just had a fight with him. Mom, it was not physical, but it was just verbal. Then your mom can say, you know what? Come on, babe. Come home. Come do this. Come do that. Would have been able to do that. But the lack of communication that parents have today, in today's age, is so ridiculous. I mean, I can say to myself, I didn't have that relationship with my parents because they weren't like me. I mean, they weren't like that. But when I had my second daughter, I try not to do the same things that my parents did. So I had a relationship with my daughter. I spoke to my daughter, and I said, I've always told her, anything that you have to say, you can tell me. I don't care. I'm not going to judge you. That's not my job. I'm not going to tell you did something wrong. That's not my job. I'm going to stand, I'm going to sit there, I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to give you advice. That's the best that I can do as a parent. If you choose to take my advice, great. If you choose not to, then that's on you. But I'm giving you advice. So whenever whenever my son or daughter has a problem, they can come to me and say, "Your dad, this is what's going on." Because I have that relationship with my son or my daughter. And in today's day and age, they don't have that. They have this. This is their way of a parent saying to their kids, don't come talk to me. Put your cell phone. Okay. And then when something does happen, there's no one that they can talk to. Why do you think teen suicide is so high? Because they have no one to talk to. With kids, you know how sad it is when you see a 12-year-old or 11-year-old kid commit suicide because they were bullied in school and they think there's no other way out? That hurts me. As a parent, it hurts me because why can't my son come to me? Why can't my son come to me? Because this is what it is. Sometimes, like my father said, I'm a man, I have to fight like a man, I have to do this like a man, blah, blah. Men don't cry. Because that's the thing. Men don't cry. That's what they say. The farce in that, the fallacy in that is so wrong. And that's what the kid's going to learn. I cannot let my father see me this way. Because if he sees me crying, I'm not a man. I'm not going to be his boy no more. I'm not going to be his right-hand man. So I'm not going to tell my dad. So the kid has no place to go. And he's waiting in his or her way. I might as well take my life away. And it's sad. It really is sad. So this was a good conversation. Horton 13, I appreciate you. By the way, Horton 13 was the one that told me that there was a body found, and once he did that, I looked into it. So I appreciate that. Steven, thank you. Giselle Martinez, thank you. Anyone who has not subscribed to my channel, please do so. And don't forget that I do have a subscription. So you guys, thank you, YouTuber. You guys can subscribe to my channel, and you could have membership of $1.99 a month, $3.99 a month, or $4.99 a month. They all comes with their perks. So yes, Tour, I appreciate your comments as preach, but I preach in a good way. That's why I love God, and I can never be a pastor. I wouldn't mind, but I'll be hung because I preach the truth. I'm not going to go into a church and you're welcome, Horn, or thank you, Horn. I'm not going to go into a church and tell my fellow churchgoers, You gotta give tithes. You gotta do this. You can't come into the church because you wear this. I'm not gonna do that. That's not my style. My style is I tell you the word of God. I tell you what I know about God and how God has helped me. And if that helps you, amen, right? But I'm not gonna tell you if you're gay, you're not gonna be you can't enter the kingdom of heaven. If you're a thief, you can't enter that's not me. That's not who I am. I be contradicting myself. I be contradicting the Bible because the Bible itself says we should not judge, for we're going to be judged one day. So who am I? It's like Texas. Who am I to tell a female, you know what? Having an abortion is against God. When this person, most Catholics do this, when these people don't even read the Bible, because nowhere in the Bible does it says that a fetus is a child, a fetus is this, a fetus is that. Nowhere in the Bible. It says, thou shalt not kill. And when it says thou shalt not kill, it means that you don't go around just killing people at random. That's what that means. That's what that means. And when they talk about homosexuality, that's a whole different story. It has a whole different meaning back then to what it had right now. So I'm not gonna, I would get lynched because I'm preaching the truth. And when I spoke about some guy named Peterson, Corey Peterson, something like that he said he has a YouTube channel. He always talking about male dominance, talking about that you have to be the alpha, you have to be the alpha, you have to be the alpha. If not, you're a beta. There's no such thing as alpha and beta in the world. The animal kingdom, yeah. But if you go around teaching your kid that you're the alpha and you can't be a beta, because being a beta, having courtesy, having respect for a woman, opening the door for a woman, cooking for a woman, doing clothes for a woman, providing for a woman in an emotional kind of way. It's not an alpha thing to do. Then beta, it sucks, right? So that's what they're trying to teach you, and that's not me. I don't teach. I never taught my kids that, and I never will teach my kids that. My kids are already grown, but I've always told my sons, if you tell a girl you love her, tell her because you really do mean it. No, tell her because you see your friends telling her that you love her. No, because when you tell a girl, it's very different. When you tell a girl you love her, she takes it to another different level. To her, you means you do love her. A lot of men say, I love you, because they want to get in her pants. But if you do love her, mean it. And I tell everybody, I tell my daughter every day, do you love your man? Yeah. Or does he love you? Because let me tell you something, I'm willing. I can tell you for a fact I love my wife. I can be in front of I would go in front of a bus. I would die. I would give my life. And that's what love is. Are you willing? Is that person willing to give his or her life for you? And I'm not just talking about you dying. No, I'm talking about willing to take their time, willing to take from whatever world that you have, right? And that not being your world anymore, and making her part of your world, that everything you do is her. Because once you do everything and you put her in the mix, and you put her here, I guarantee you have a good woman for life. I don't care what it is, you're going to have a woman for life. This woman is never going to cheat on you. This woman is not going to be afraid of you. This woman is going to adore you because you put her here. You sacrifice your life. That's what I mean. You sacrifice your life to make her happy. And in return, she's going to reciprocate, and she's going to do the same thing to you. She's going to give her life, for you. She's going to make sure that when you get home, your food is done. When you get home, your clothes are done. When you get home, everything is done, because you've taken that time you dedicated your time, your life to her. Now she's going to take her time and she's going to reciprocate and do the same thing for you. And if that means being a beta, if that means that sucks, then I prefer staying in that arrow instead of being the alpha. Man, don't cry. I'm this and I'm that. No, that doesn't go with me. So I appreciate it. So that's when I preach. I preach from here, from my heart. So I do appreciate it. Tuber Horton 13, thank you very much. And God bless you guys. So don't forget, I will put that podcast up either tonight or tomorrow so you can listen to it. Another unsolved murder, which is sad, right? It really is sad. So Let's not think about whether Brian is innocent or guilty. All right. When you think about Gabby Petito, think about all those women who have been abused and killed by their significant other. If you have a daughter, make a look, let her see the Gabby Petito story or stories like her. So when she does get into a relationship, she doesn't fall for the same thing, that she knows when to get out, that she knows that if my significant other is yelling at me, if my significant other is abusing me, if my significant other is doing something, then you leave. You got to teach your daughter to leave, to have that self-empowerment to say, I am out. There ain't, I don't know how to say this. I don't want to say bad, but we're all those. They ain't no dick worth me dying for. Just as simple as that. The same way they ain't no pussy for me to die for me to go to prison for. A woman doesn't love me. A woman doesn't want to be with me. That's it. I move on. I learned that in life. I never stress. I never get jealous from a woman. My wife tells me, why ain't you jealous? Because that's not me. If you're going to cheat on me, you're going to cheat on me. I just move on. That's it. I'm not going to stay stuck. I'm stupid. I had one relationship where I let that girl stay, who lived rent-free here for 3 years when I was younger. And I'm not going to do that. So I learned from that. And that was when I was 17 years old. So I learned from that. And never again has that ever happened. So with that said, thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. I appreciate each and every one of you. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So see you guys tomorrow, God willing. Peace. And Horn, if you see anything, let me know.